Flight delays, unexpected baggage fees, and cramped seats already sound frustrating enough? Well, on today's Fast Instant Karma, things get taken to a whole new level by a group of Karens who seem to think they own the entire airline. And trust me, once aviation rules step in, karma lands even faster than a delayed flight. This man repeatedly screamed at staff to reopen the boarding gate, even taking off his shirt and resisting as if that would somehow help his case. Instead of boarding the plane, he got a personal escort from guard eye and airport security straight to a holding cell. After missing the standby list on 3 consecutive flights, this passenger erupted at Orlando Airport, kicking an employee and damaging computers at the ticket counter. Unfortunately, violence won't get you onto a plane any faster. It'll only get you closer to the no-fly list.
Sorry, everybody. Are you serious? Okay,
If you decide to expose your backside to an entire cabin just because the restroom is occupied, don't be surprised when the FBI starts taking a serious interest in your future. It took her only 3 seconds to threaten a stranger and make a complete fool of herself, but it will take years to clean that incident off her record. Before lighting up a cigarette, this stubborn passenger was making a scene and taking his frustration out on the tray table in front of him, like it was the root of all his problems. But whether he was clueless or doing it on purpose, smoking on a commercial flight is a massive violation, and the FAA could hand him a very sobering fine of up to $25,000. Buying an economy class ticket and getting a free circus show with a police escort thrown in, that's quite a deal for the passengers around them. A family trip at a Florida airport quickly turned into an awkward scene thanks to an intoxicated and out-of-control family member.
Don't! Get the f*** away! Get the f*** away! You're smart!
Despite police telling him to calm down, he kept hurling insults at his terrified relatives. Just remember, once you turn an airport terminal into a stage to flash your oversized ego, don't be surprised if the grand finale is a trespassing warning instead of a boarding pass.
Hey, we need to get 1012 with Mrs.
All right, but first, watch your head, okay?
There you go.
All right, now see you. All right.
Thank you.
Don't.
That poor kicker definitely didn't expect his seat-shaking routine to be interrupted by a sudden change in gender and high-velocity slap.
Are you kidding story. Help!
Next time someone decides to harass flight attendants and assault the crew, remember the role of great duct tape is cheap, effective, and completely unimpressed by an oversized ego.
Please, can you leave it up?
Turning a mid-air window seat dispute into a kindergarten coloring book was certainly a unique way to showcase artistic talent while being angry. TSA's X-ray scanner exposed to this passenger when officers discovered a loaded semi-automatic handgun sitting inside his carry-on bag. Pro tip: always double check your bags before traveling, because treating a loaded semi-automatic weapon like a forgotten pack of gum is the fastest way to get a felony on your record.
They have a person driving a car and possibly intoxicated.
Authorities had to respond to a chaotic chain of events on November 11, 2023, involving a highly disruptive suspect.
He just got on top of the jet, he closed the door, he did brandish a knife at me.
He got on the jet?
He got on the jet.
Well, let's wait. So we get enough people here. Oh, he's got a knife.
Nobody else is on a plane? No, but he has access and he has it powered up.
After stealing items from a gas station, this guy breached the tarmac, climbed onto a private jet, made bomb threats, and barricaded himself inside the cabin.
Police car, come on now!
I will fuck you. I am a suicide bomber.
You're under arrest, come out!
Obviously, trying to play getaway driver on a completely powered-down aircraft didn't get him airborne. It just made his rap sheet a whole lot longer.
You guys check the taser probes?
No, not yet. I don't know where they're at.
So get me the up on the next flight, you mother. Or call people in the jets right now!
If this lady spent half that energy checking her boarding pass instead of screaming at the wrong ticket counter, she'd probably be halfway to her destination by now.
People in the jets right now! Call his TSA?
This is WestJet, not Delta.
Whoa. Hey, excuse me. My bag was.
What?
My bag was go to the
No,
restaurant or whatever.
no, my bag goes up there. You can like put that in your seat or something.
care
Excuse
about
me,
your
I'm gonna
bag.
sit in my seat. Excuse me. No, don't talk to me.
My bag was there.
Oh my god! Help! No, it doesn't go into the plane. No, my valuables are in there. That's a Louis Vuitton. Did I say that? It doesn't go under.
Her handbag might be a limited edition, but the instant karma she received was a free mass market release.
What are you talking about? Wait, oh my god, that's falling on my head.
This is going underneath the plane.
No.
You
You
can't.
know what? I'm never flying your airline again. It's so gross.
Just because of an argument with his wife on a Southwest flight from Miami to Denver, Marshall Martinez sparked a brawl when an undercover federal officer stepped in to intervene. It seems alcohol gave him courage in all the wrong places, because assaulting a federal employee on an airplane earned him a criminal charge and a mugshot he'll never forget.
You're gonna have to bust your seat or
Airport security cameras caught the exact moment this guy sneakily took a photo of someone else's phone to clone their ticket info while they weren't paying attention. Just a quick reminder, if your flight got cancelled twice, buying a new ticket is still a whole lot cheaper than hiring a lawyer for federal court. An American Airlines flight to Savannah, Georgia was forced to make an unscheduled landing after a passenger caused a major incident in the cabin. The moment the plane touched down, security had to step in because Danji Augustin refused to cooperate and clung onto his companion.
Sir, you okay? Are you okay, sir? Let him go, let him go, let him go. Don't swallow, don't swallow, don't swallow, don't swallow.
Trying to swallow a small necklace string to avoid being restrained might be a creative stalling tactic, but the FBI quickly reminded him that interfering with the flight crew is a federal crime, not a game.
And I'm going to tell you right now why.
Wow, Karen on a plane deserves to become a classic Halloween costume for years to
You
come.
can die with him, but I'm not going to.
Successfully proving that the overhead bin is way more comfortable than an actual seat on Southwest.
Good evening, welcome aboard. Southwest Airlines flight.
That airport outfit was impossible to miss. Perfect for airport security to spot him from a mile away.
You know what he's doing? And Ellie did that to me. A guy who was at this one park said,
5 dress rehearsals for a fake constipation crisis right in the middle of the airport terminal. At this point, cloud chasing is officially a mental illness.
What's up, bro?
What's happening, man?
What's up? You here for this?
What's going on?
They
Kicked off the plane for causing a scene at the Spirit Airlines gate. This passenger vented her anger by throwing things, spitting at the crew, and violently resisting arrest.
Come talk. Come stand with him. Don't stand behind me or none of this. The nigga keep picking out the.
My man.
Get him, bro.
Hey.
You with me, bro? Get the on. What y'all doing? What y'all what? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'll tighten the hanger. I'll tighten the hanger. I'll tighten the right.
Look, you can argue and you can complain, but the moment you spit on staff and lunge at 4 police officers, you've officially crossed into criminal territory.
You get patted down already? No, I ain't do nothing, nigga. Nah. Turn up. Go.
Yelling at the entire flight crew apparently wasn't enough for this woman, so she completely lost control and even attacked an innocent passenger.
People are gonna miss their connections. Everybody, please sit down. Whatever's wrong, we figure it out later, please.
One impulsive decision that lasted only a few seconds, but the consequences could be a federal charge and a prison sentence of up to 20 years. Ignoring the gate agents and refusing to pay baggage fees, these 3 women forced their way onto a plane at Miami International Airport. Sure, budget airline baggage fees are annoying, but they're still a bargain compared to a lawyer's bill for defending a resisting arrest charge in court. It started with a shady request to hold some luggage, but things quickly turned into a hilarious tug-of-war between a scammer and an extremely cautious traveler.
Let go. Yo no voy a soltar hasta que no me pongan 40 dólares en la mano, que venga quien venga, hable con él y yo me quedo tranquilo, hable con él. Go!
If you have to use your fists to keep someone from leaving, then your biggest problem right now isn't loneliness. It's your upcoming court date.
It's everywhere. If I was white in a suit, you would stop the fucking plane.
If screaming at flight attendants could actually teleport a forgotten phone onto the plane, this lady would have definitely won Witch of the Year.
So you just released him from the bank. I saw it out the window. I know it within my heart. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Where you get it from? Sovereign ruler here in the government. 7 continents I own. Keep laughing. Watch your ass be right on a boat. A nice group of expedition. What comes around goes around. This time now. Keep laughing. Watch what happens.
Losing your mind just because the person in front is taking too long to grab their bags, only to guarantee that your own deplaning gets delayed by a few police officers.
Alright, folks, we need you to enter the program. We are calling the police. Man, I will kill you.
Using toddlers as a shield in an argument doesn't give you a get-out-of-jail-free card. It just turns your next stop into a custody hearing.
Sarah, step back. Go back, Sarah. Step back.
Relax.
Step back.
Relax. It don't matter what you
It doesn't matter what you smell. You're out of line.
What is he doing? And who
People usually share hacks to save on carry-on baggage fees, but this is taking it a bit too
just
far.
took too long? So many kids were exposed to that. That's just ridiculous.
You had absolutely no right to do that.
He's talking to me after you give me my phone.
Okay, so you're not going to apologize, right?
If you ask me about instant karma, I'll show you this right here.
Oh my god.
Exactly what you deserve.
What?
Next is me.
Woman?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. You want to hit a man? You want to hit like a man? Oh, you're not going
I'm gonna go report you right
Hey,
now.
yeah, don't take that
What?
drill, baby girl.
That's what you
Don't
get
take
for
that
hitting
drill.
a lady.
Okay, I am calm and I'm asking you to look me in the eyes.
The child sat quietly the entire time. Ironically, it was the adult nearby who produced enough ear-piercing noise to disrupt the whole flight.
I don't even want to hear that.
Yeah, lady, can you just keep it down? My
know.
God, just shut up.
Next to the screaming baby. You know it. So stop pretending this is my problem in this country.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, you're gonna move her now?
Oh.
Now you're gonna move her?
Off the plane.
Oh.
Do not touch me! You're touching me! You are touching me!
Oh my
No!
gosh, lady.
Don't! You're hurting me!
Yeah, right.
You know what? You
Goodbye.
guys, I've had it. This is
Goodbye.
You gotta take that hat off. Okay. Am I okay? Are you okay? Why are you wearing that hat? Have you seen this country lately? It's not so great, and I'm not sitting next to someone wearing that hat.
Somebody should tell her that a business class ticket doesn't come with the right to police other people's outfits, especially over a hat.
You bleed red? Oh, give me a break.
I think it's time to leave. Really? It's time to be
Oh,
flying
that's
today.
right.
Oh, okay.
Hey, get her off. Yeah, get out of here.
After causing a disgusting scene in front of passengers at the Atlanta terminal, this guy slipped onto the plane, hoping an early takeoff would help him get away with it. Unfortunately, that plan came crashing down when police stormed the cabin and escorted him out of his seat. It's a clear reminder that aviation security takes public indecency very seriously and has little tolerance for that kind of behavior.
Assistance would be great.
Security had to step in at a Florida airport terminal after a passenger showed signs of heavy intoxication.
Have a seat. No, it's okay.
know.
Bro. This is my bag.
Instead of cooperating with medical personnel, she tried flirting with them and repeatedly made bizarre claims about her identity.
Oh God. This is so
That's why I have a strap.
Yeah.
See what you do. Hang them up.
I got it right.
And there are people who need you.
Is it we want?
No, I'm not sitting down. There are people.
Screaming song lyrics and trying to seduce first responders might sound bold, but unfortunately, airport safety rules don't offer a VIP exemption package for self-proclaimed divas. The normal boarding process was disrupted when a heavily intoxicated traveler showed up.
Can you come off the plane with me? There we go. We do. Yeah, we do, but this is one of the important ones.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's really not.
After getting stopped at the gate, she intentionally forced her way onto the jet bridge and resisted multiple attempts by police to clear the walkway.
Give me a second.
Upstairs, we can get a second. Don't resist, man. Relax.
And as usual, trying to bypass security won't get you on the plane any faster. It just gets you a lot closer to a disorderly conduct charge.
Good.
Does this make you guys get off? Like, what the?
You know what?
Using deeply offensive racist marks, this man caused chaos in the airport terminal right in front of his young child.
Learn English! Learn English! So don't give me attitude. This guy to flip me like this, he can go bullshit.
It couldn't have been a worse example to set, and the price he paid was the arrival of security officers and a one-way ticket straight to a lawyer's office.
Careful, watch.
Stop recording me right now.
No.
Get out of the jet bridge right now. Get out.
Once the airline staff have said no, continuing down the jet bridge is a great way to turn your flight into unnecessary drama.
You got it? No, because he's covering it.
No, get out.
No. Call somebody
You all
over
think
here.
this is funny?
Call somebody over here.
You're not getting on my plane.
We'll call somebody over here.
You're not getting on my plane.
Call somebody over here. That's not our problem. They should have bought a ticket and got a seat. And I got his name too, so I will be calling somebody making a damn complaint.
The flight was only delayed for a little over 2 hours, but looking at the way these Italian passengers were screaming for help, you'd think they were trapped in a long-running survival movie.
Alright, you bought a shit, boy.
Huh?
I say you bought a shit, boy.
A false smoke alarm got a passenger wrongfully accused of smoking in the lavatory.
Boy, y'all tripping.
Do you smoke?
Huh?
Do you smoke?
Nah, I don't smoke.
Even though the police quickly cleared things up and let him go, the gate agent still didn't seem too happy with the outcome.
Why? This is I can't record. Why can't? And I can't. You're telling me I can't.
I said I voted sober, you voted. I voted drunk, you voted sober.
The plane ticket said Atlanta, but that disastrous move behind the Delta counter just rerouted this lady straight to a federal holding cell. No layover needed.
Alabama. She just like this level of hysterical the entire time.
She lost her shoe. No. African and Black American. And then she...
According to flight attendants, this passenger caused chaos on the flight by constantly switching seats, invading personal space, and taking other people's phones.
The lady was laying on the guy. The guy, do you know him? Do you fly together? And she said, no. So the flight attendant asked the guy move to different seats. That way she sit by herself. And she borrowing her phone.
When authorities stepped in, she literally ran down to the restricted tarmac area, calling 911 for help while on the run.
From the officers.
Look, hold on. 911. Yes, please come to Pensacola Airport. Send the lieutenant or sergeant. They will not call for rape and they are abusing me. Please come now. I'm Pensacola Airport.
Too bad the airport isn't an open track, and running from the cops in a secure zone just landed her vacation plans straight into legal trouble.
Wonderful Savior. God is good, y'all. And if y'all had God in y'all heart, though, if y'all had the love of God, which was on y'all, I'm 50.
Okay, good. Much better.
I am. Keep turning around. Can you crack my window for me, please?
Yeah, we'll crack the window and cut the AC on for you.
Thank you.
Move
Now look
feet.
at this. Are you getting my bag to bring with me?
Yep.
Okay.
You can have everything with you, all right?
All right.
They have it.
On May 21st, 2025, a routine airport security screening quickly turned into a major problem for this passenger.
Well, that is my own personal food that I brought from here to take back home. Baby, I'm going to take you healing.
Officers discovered suspected illegal substances in her luggage, leading to a thorough search before she was escorted to a patrol vehicle.
Then I'm just going to run through your hair.
She may have called them personal items, but judging by the quantity and the way they were packaged, authorities clearly saw things very differently.
Can you slide over? Go ahead and sit up.
So I kept stalling. I told the lady that I had.
Right after a theft at the Hudson News store, police quickly tracked down the suspect barricaded in a nearby restroom.
Well, I mean, do you understand from her perspective how she believes
You missed your flight? Yeah. Okay.
you're basically stealing from there, you're running into the bathroom, you're hanging out there for
Facing the cops, she threw out a bunch of clumsy excuses, ranging from missing her flight the day before to her dead phone holding an invisible ticket.
What caused you to miss the flight if you were here? Know that. Because you don't have access to email.
No.
So you lied about you saw the email.
I did, but my phone died. So, but they.
This story's getting worse and worse, to be candidly honest with you. How do you get a ticket today?
I want to see if I can get it.
Too bad the Dead Phone Act could only hide a non-existent ticket. It definitely couldn't save her from handcuffs on a double charge of theft and trespassing.
You've already been trespassed before. So this is now being arrested for trespass after warning.
Okay. Rescue's here, huh?
First responders were waiting on the tarmac after a suspected medical emergency in the cabin.
We were leaving.
Sorry?
We were leaving.
NFL star Odell Beckham Jr. was later cleared of any life-threatening issues, but the flight crew still asked him to deplane for safety reasons.
Hey Garcia, Sergeant with Miami-Dade Police Department. Nice to meet you.
Listen, unfortunately, it's not our decision. Just listen, apparently you're passed out.
You gonna wait 40 minutes, and I'm gonna be on a private plane home. Yeah, your fat ass. Yeah, I will. Get your ass off the plane for a second.
Pilots have full authority to deny boarding whenever necessary, and refusing to leave only turned what seemed like a harmless nap into a police-escorted exit from the airport.
Guys, call me.
Hi,
What's going on?
I'm trying to get on my flight that I spent $400 to try to rebook.
Okay, what's
A dispute over a rebooking of flight led to a chaotic scene at the United Airlines ticket counter in Southwest Florida.
okay? This is Ella. She's getting rebooked. She had a little too much. Driver. She had a little.
I didn't have anything to drink.
She had a little too much to drink.
Shoveled. It's okay.
Passenger Ella Prosco refused to cooperate with staff and started making threats toward other passengers in line, completely ignoring the police standing right there.
I'm like this because of them. First of all, she's gonna go get flight system. Right? This what are you, 65? Sorry that your youth is taking you.
My youth has been fabulous.
Oh no, I mean it's not there anymore.
Is that your bag?
Obviously, when you handle a rebooking issue by taking on the entire airport, Your next destination is probably not gonna be the boarding gate.
None of you are that attractive.
Can you hand it to me from the other
Like,
side?
objectively. It's so uncomfortable.
Well, that was fun.
Karens might think they're the main character, but in today's video, Karma is the one writing the script. If you're enjoying this series, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to Fast Instant Karma to see Karma keep doing its thing.